On a silent night, Bora reflects on how strange it feels not having been able to cry for Syoko since his passing. Holding her baby in her arms, she glances at the photo taken with him and quietly admits that everything is really hard. She doesn't know if she can keep going. The next morning, her daughter cries inconsolably while Bora, phone in hand, contacts the job ads she finds in the newspaper. After the call ends, her expression turns sad. She sighs and replies with resignation that she understands, but moments later, her daughter's crying overwhelms her. Bora yells at her to be quiet. For a moment, the little girl is frightened and stops crying, but soon resumes with even more intensity. That's when Bora, feeling guilty, hugs her gently and apologizes. She didn't mean to yell. She holds her delicately and whispers comforting words, pleading with her to stop crying while rocking her with care. Gradually, her daughter calms down. It's then that Bora notices her bare hand. Her wedding ring is gone. She reflects on how, along with the money she got from selling it, her memories with Syoko seem to vanish in just a month. That night, one of her children starts crying, waking Bora up. Exhausted, she looks at him with heavy eyes and feels her strength fading. She whispers an apology, promising she'll sleep just a little longer. The next morning, she opens her eyes and wonders how long she slept. Turning her head, she sees her son Woon-chan and smiles with pride. He's learned to entertain himself. But when she looks at her daughter, something unsettles her. She calls her, and upon touching her forehead, feels it burning with fever. Without hesitation, she takes her in her arms and runs out into the street, worry etched across her face. In the midst of desperation, she stumbles. She falls hard, but her maternal instinct drives her to shield her daughter with her own body. Without showing fragility in the face of the situation, she gets up and asks if they're okay, then says they'll be there soon, continuing on her way. She manages to reach the hospital and gets immediate care for her daughter. In front of the doctor and with visible injuries, she receives the news that the girl has enteritis, an inflammation of the small intestine. The doctor also tells her the child is showing signs of dehydration, so they begin IV fluid therapy. He adds that more tests are needed and that she'll need to stay hospitalized afterward. Worried, Bora asks if her daughter will be okay. The doctor responds firmly that he will do everything he can. The little girl's mother watches her with concern and deep sadness in her eyes. She recalls what people said, that Syoko died saving a little girl. She admits she understands the decision he made, but at times the way he acted fills her with great resentment toward him. Still at the hospital, Bora approaches the reception and says her daughter is scheduled to be admitted today. The receptionist asks for the patient's name, and she replies, Kim Yeon. She also inquires about the payment. The receptionist explains she can first pay the emergency treatment fee and settle the hospitalization costs when the child is discharged. Bora simply nods and agrees to the terms. Just then, she hears a familiar voice. Turning around, she sees the doctor who assisted her during childbirth. Even Woon-chan seems to recognize him. The doctor smiles, greets her warmly, and comments on how much her son has grown. Then, with a kind expression, he adds that she's done a great job as a mother. But Bora quickly denies it and confesses that she hasn't. The doctor mentions he's seen Yeon's chart and tells Bora she doesn't need to worry too much, assuring her the child will be fine after a few days in the hospital and some good rest. Bora smiles and thanks him, but then he looks at her more closely and asks if she has eaten. In the cafeteria, he realizes why she looks so pale. Bora, in a subdued voice, replies that she doesn't believe she's qualified to be a mother. The doctor assures her that mothers are human too, and it's normal to feel tired and even fall ill. He also makes it clear that the enteritis is not her fault. He tells her the emergency room fees can be paid once the child is discharged, but if she needs help, she just has to say so. While eating, Bora looks at him carefully, and after a moment, replies that it's not that. He's already done enough for them. But still, she appreciates his words. She assures him she's fine and can take care of her children, smiling as she says it. However, that expression fades as soon as she returns to the room with her children. Deep inside, she wonders what she's going to do, since she's currently unemployed and has nothing left to sell. Eventually, she admits to herself that there's only one option she can think of: robbing an empty house, specifically her father's. In front of his house, she waits for him to leave for work. When she sees him walk away, she heads to the entrance, knowing he keeps the key in the same place as always. She takes it and enters, but what she finds leaves her stunned. The house is a complete mess. Bora had always thought he was very tidy, but then she doubted her own conviction and considered returning it later. She regretted having to do it as she opened the safe and looked at some letters. So she decided to take one. It was a letter addressed to her father, written by Kim Seoko. He began by apologizing for bothering him so often, but this time he had good news and hoped they would be good for him too. Bora was pregnant, so he would soon become a grandfather. Seoko admitted he was scared and nervous about the birth of his child. He hoped to learn many things from him, since he had raised Bora alone and had done it well. He longed to share that joy with his father-in-law. He remembered that, in the past, the man had told him he was a lonely person. But now he had Bora by his side, so he would never feel alone again. He confessed that every day he asked himself how he could be so happy, and for that reason, once again, he apologized, as he always did. Right after reading those words, at that very moment, Bora's father arrived, and one of the children saw him. The man remarked that Seoko had left without ever receiving a reply from him. He had said that no one should give up such a precious child and understood that he deserved to be hated. But in the end, Seoko kept his promise. In the final part of the letter, already dampened by teardrops, Seoko stated that he would become a proud head of the family and promised to dedicate every day of the rest of his life to making his beloved Bora happy. He concluded by informing him that he would visit again the following day. Signing off with affection, your son-in-law, Kim Seoko.